Aloha, you're now entering behind the scenes and beyond the talk with TEDx Honolulu. I am your host, Justine Espiritu. We're so thankful to the ThinkTech team for allowing us this time slot every week to get more in depth with the speakers, the volunteers, the organizations that help put on our events and help us showcase all the great talents and ideas that we have here in Honolulu. Today's guest is Joe Cardiello.
Cardiello, close though.
Shoot, I'm so sorry. Joe Cardiello, he is the Director of Training at the Carnegie Training of Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so you have been the TEDx Honolulu speaker trainer for 3 events now.
Right, 3 events.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So can you give us a little background of what that training center is and what you do for TEDx Honolulu?
Sure. Well, Carnegie Training is an international organization based out of New York that helps train people in presentations, in sales, leadership, human relations, and a multitude of other things. For TEDx, we help the presenters become better presenters. Great people, we help them become great presenters.
Mm-hmm. And how did you get involved with TEDx Honolulu? Did you know Genesis? Did you see an event?
Probably Genesis is the one the root cause of, or the root reason a lot of us are here. Yes, I met Genesis, and one thing led to another, and she said, hey, can you help out get the presenters ready? And yeah, it was really great because I had always been an admirer of TED, and to be involved with TEDx here in Hawaii is just awesome.
Were you aware before you were volunteering that Honolulu had its own TEDx?
I wasn't. I had just moved to Hawaii when I met Genesis and got involved, so it was pretty early on in my life here in Hawaii. So
great. That's a great way to meet people and
Absolutely,
get to
yes.
know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And were you aware of the general TED Talks, the international?
Yes, I knew about TED and the international, but I didn't realize how active and how widespread TEDx was, or TED Ed, or the salons and all that. So it's been a great learning experience in addition to the big events as well.
Yeah, I didn't know. Really, I was introduced to TED through volunteering with TEDx, and it's been really fun to just see the variety of topics and just getting that inspiration every day.
Yeah.
So what are some of your favorite TED Talks, or how long have you been?
Well, I've been watching TED Talks for a long time. As a trainer, we always look to find the brightest and best presenters as a presentation trainer, but also ideas in management and sales and just life. So TED's always been really on my radar, really interested in, and now getting involved in the TEDx. And what's amazing is some of the best TED Talks are TEDx Talks. When you hear about them, some of the most viewed came from events like the ones we run here in Hawaii. So that's really exciting to know that we have the potential of a person here in Hawaii that can have 5 or 10 million views.
Exactly. That's what I think is, it's really exciting to see that happen in one's community. And it's awesome when, someone takes that initiative like Genesis to say, we need this, but it takes a whole community to continuously put on these events. And and it's great because probably some of the folks that we feature, I think you mentioned you encouraged Andrea to apply. And my experience is that we all know a lot of people here in Honolulu that have great ideas or great stories, but they're kind of hesitant, like, oh, that's not, I don't want to go on stage, like, I don't want to, present anything. But so if we do convince them, okay, just apply, and then they get selected, how has that been to train them then? Well,
back to your point, yes, a lot of people have great ideas, and they're amazing, wonderful people that are doing great things, like Andrea, like Brandon Hayashi, another friend of mine. Awesome people. Hey, I can never do a TED Talk. That's Bill Gates does a TED Talk, or Steve Jobs. But there's amazing people at all levels, and just to have the opportunity to have the voice on such a big stage. And I think once you encourage them, they rise to the occasion. And both those individuals in particular give amazing presentations. So training people like that, it's great because they're humble. They're not, I'm great and wonderful, let me tell you what I know. They're honored to be on this TEDx stage. So working with them is just awesome because they're trying so hard. They are coachable for the most part and really work to become great. And it's to play a small part of that is fun on my part.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting to see the people that have been pulled into TEDx and the different places they are at the event.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say, I mean, obviously most of your work is prior to the event
Right.
as well. Then what do you do the day of the event?
The day of the event is probably some of the best days I've ever had, because I just sit back and watch. I've been training people for years, and you get them all ready to do whatever they want to do, and they go off and do it, and you don't get to be a part of it. Well, with the TEDx, I'm sitting in the audience just like everyone else, watching them stumble over or nail parts of their talk and be excited. They want someone to laugh at this part or not at that part, or convey a special message, and to watch them do that, to watch them be successful. And my role at that point is just to sit in the back and clap really loudly when they do it. It's just one of the best things I've ever done.
Awesome. And so what are some of your favorite TED Talks that you have watched?
There's one that I recommend that every person I coach watch. It's Joe Smith, How to Use a Paper Towel. And it's a TEDx talk. The whole talk is only, I want to say, 4.5 minutes long. And basically he talks about how to use paper towels more efficiently. And it seems very simple, and he's not a big household name. He's not some, and no disrespect to him, he's not some world-renowned intellectual writer or something, but he talks about how to use paper towels. And what stands out to me in that talk is every time I wash my hands and I use a paper towel, I think of him. And he talks about how to use just one paper towel rather than a whole bunch. And if you're up in front of a group and you're giving that presentation, and every time someone does something, they think about you, that's a very powerful presentation. So if you're speaking about things like innovation or keeping kids out of trouble, off drugs, things like that, and every time they think about taking a drug or having a cigarette, and they're thinking about some talk they heard, and they don't do it, well, that's impactful. So when I work with presenters, I say, think about the impact that he has. And everyone who I know has watched this can't not think about this guy when they wash their hands.
Yeah.
That's impact.
What's amazing too is one of the things we talk about here, the TED Talks, you only get 18 minutes or 15 minutes or 10 minutes to do your presentation. But that one is so short and simple, and he didn't need any more time. It was so impactful.
Yes. And as you know, setting up, when we get presenters ready, there's a big negotiation about how much time everyone wants. And the most they can get is 18 minutes, and everyone fights for that 18 minutes. I say, do it in 10, do it in 7. But make it more impactful. You don't need 18 minutes to convince people to think differently or follow your idea. Just do it in a really, really impactful way. Just like he washed his hands 4 times in his talk, but yet people think about it all the time. Yeah. So it's the impact, not the time we spend. So.
Okay. So what are some of the earlier ones, or it's interesting that that talk directly reflects on your work and you're able to reference that. And what are some other ones that have kind of made an impact like that?
Well, Simon Sinek, he talks about the why. And I do a lot of training in leadership, a lot of training in sales. And so often salespeople and leaders don't get to the why. They want to sell something. Oh, just buy it. But not why do they want to buy it, or what problem does it solve? And same thing in leadership. We come to work every day and we do our job. Why? Well, because someone tells us. But that's not really the why. And he talks about helping people understand to a next level of what they're doing. And when I work with companies on creating a vision, for example, of their organization, that's the why. Why am I moving this paper from one side of the desk to the other? Or why am I giving good customer service? It's to meet the vision of that organization and their own personal vision, but they have to understand the why. And I just really liked the way he presented it. Very simple, just a flip chart, nothing fancy, but really made an impact in a very, very powerful concept, the why. Why we do things. So.
That's interesting, because I watched that one, and some of it seems just like, okay, it's kind of sounds like he's just talking about like marketing, but I like the message of just really being conscious and purposeful in your work or what you say to people or what your mission is.
Right, I know you're very involved with sustainability and transportation, as you were the one on the thing, we take a picture of my hybrid car. But why do you do it? I'm not gonna ask you that, but you think, why do you do it? And that's what gets you out of bed in the morning. That's what, when you're tired and you don't feel like doing it, that's what gets you to go to that meeting or meet with those people about whatever topic it is. That's what gets us going. And if we don't have that strong foundation of why, yes, he does talk about it in the marketing sense. He talks about Apple and all that. But the concept is much, much deeper than marketing. And I think that so many people use that talk as a way to describe why outside of marketing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So do you, in your trainings, you just kind of reference like, hey, check out this TED Talk, or is it like a predominant part of
I'll
of
just
your
recommend
trainings?
it. We don't really make our training is pretty, I don't want to say structured, but it's a big organization. So, but I often will recommend, and also too, I often get into conversations with folks about, hey, what can I learn more about this topic, or what's the next step, and often we'll refer to different TED Talks.
That's cool. That's interesting where, you do have your structured, way you go about teaching something, but it is always great to have, a TED Talk to kind of like open or expand it a little more and get some other perspective, maybe not even specifically on what it's talking about. So it's just great that we have that like vast portal of all these inspirational and
right, and because TED has got such a powerful name, it's credibility. You don't believe me? Okay, you don't believe me that this is how you should do it. How about these 17 TED Talks that support what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's often the push that they need to say, oh, all right, I get what Joe said, but I really get it now because TED, with the credibility it has, can push it over, so.
Yeah, and that's definitely, I mean, you already kind of referenced it when folks here in Honolulu get to take the stage. We have it set up so similar to TED Talks, and then it gives them that credibility.
Yeah.
It's great just to see that kind of like validation and just being excited about that.
Right, and they're every bit as credible as anyone on a TED international stage, just they happen to be here in Hawaii. So.
Yeah, and it's like also there's so many more people here in Honolulu. Everyone has some message or some idea, and so I'm just excited to do more events and bring more people onto the stage. And I've been trying to ask people, I think Genesis is for these salon events that she does, the smaller ones, a former speaker will pick a theme or a topic and then get to kind of curate it and pick some speakers. Do you ever fantasize about what your TED Talk topic would be?
I like personal development, and not because that's what I do, but I think...
maybe it's like you get to do a TED Talk every time for all the speakers through the whole planning.
I just love people that are able to always look and say, how can I better myself? And what can I do differently? What can I do more of or less of yesterday that will make me better? What can make me smarter? What can make me more worldly? What can I read? Who can I talk to? Never be complacent. And I think that we all fall into the trap of a bit too busy, too lazy, too whatever, but we forget about growing. And if we think about growing now, it'll help us down the road in whatever we want to do. And I just love being surrounded by people. One of the main attractions why I keep coming back to TEDx, and I will continue to keep coming back, is because the people you're surrounded with, that's where their head's at. They want to develop and change and grow and be better and help other people be better. And that would, if I had to pick a salon topic, it would be, I don't know if I'd call it personal development, but maybe continuous growth or something like that.
That's a good one.
What can you continue to do to better yourself? Learn more, experience more.
It's really awesome to see you so passionate about what you do that even outside of work, you want to volunteer your time doing that same thing throughout. A lot of people, I think, have a job and then they can't wait for like, job's done, now I start my life. It's great. I love to see that people are filling their times, choosing careers that lets them live the way they want to live and lets them be around the people they want to be with and to just create that environment that they like for themselves. So it's really inspiring to see you doing that.
Yes, I'm very lucky and very fortunate to have had the opportunity to do this for a living. I remember when I got my first paycheck from Dale Carnegie, because when you become a trainer, there's a process beforehand. It takes a while, and you do a lot of stuff without getting paid for it, which was fine. I enjoyed every bit of it. And then one day I come home and I got a paycheck in the mail from Dale Carnegie, and I didn't know how to react. I couldn't get paid for this.
That's
and
awesome.
It's almost to this day, I'll get a check and I'll say, okay. I would have done it for nothing.
Yeah, which is funny. I think that's something he brings up in the talk, the why talk, when he talks about if your employees know what you believe and your mission and your values and they believe that as well, you're going to get people that are passionate, and that's when you're going to succeed. And
yeah, when you have the passion, people will be passionate. I work with a lot of leaders, and I want my people to do this. Well, are you doing it? I want them to be excited about my job, and they have to be excited, and they have to live it, not just say it. And I'm lucky to be able to do that.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break and then kind of get more specific into the 3 different events you were a part of.
Okay, very good.
Okay, thank you.
Aloha, I'm Kili'i Akina, president of the Grassroot Institute and host on Ehana Kako, a weekly program on the ThinkTech Hawaii broadcast network. Ehana Kako means let's work together. Think of the sad alternative, let's not work together. Here in Hawaii, with all of our diversity and the richness of the people, it's important for us to come together around issues on the basis of what's right and what's good and what's going to serve the common good. And that's what we try to do at Ehana Kako. Every week we interview movers and shakers, people in government, business, and other sectors of society to talk about how to create together a better government, economy, a better world here in Hawaii that can bless the rest of the world. I thank you for your attention to ThinkTech Hawaii, and we look forward to seeing you every Monday, 2 to 3 p.m. on the ThinkTech Hawaii broadcast network. We're Ehana Kako, and we wish you well. Aloha.
Aloha, how you doing? I'm Gordo the Tech Czar, here on ThinkTech Hawaii, where we co-host Hibachi Talk, where we talk about technology and bring in all kinds of cool guests. Also, my co-host with me today is
Andrew the security guy. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching ThinkTech Hawaii, and thanks for watching Hibachi Talk. We also have Angus.
And you there, lad. It's Angus. I bring in all kinds of wee things. Oh, look, you can see my lips moving.
Aloha and welcome back to Behind the Scenes and Beyond the Talk with TEDx Honolulu. I'm your host, Justine Espiritu, and today's guest is Joe Cardiello from the Dale Carnegie Training of Hawaii. Thank you again for joining us,
Thank
Joe.
you.
So we talked a little bit about your background in terms of your familiarity with TED, and I'm kind of curious we know you train the speakers, but I'm curious of the months-long process and what exactly your involvement is and how you work with them. So you guys we selected the speakers in October, November?
We started right before the holidays is when we were narrowing it down, and right around we had the auditions and all that. So yeah.
And then then you guys have 5 months. It was because it was March.
March. So 5 months from the beginning. Once they picked all the speakers, it was probably about 3 months.
Okay. So what goes on in that 3 months?
The first thing we do is we have, we call it like a speaker meeting, or I'm not sure what we call it, something, that's what I call it anyway. And we get all the presenters together. One of the nice things that Genesis has really tried to do is make a speaker community. Also, Valve was a big part of that, getting the speakers to get to know each other, be supportive of each other. So this is the first time they get all in the same room and get to meet each other. So when they do that, we talk to them about the requirements about becoming a TEDx presenter, things like they can't sell their products and the requirements, they can't plagiarize, things like that. Then we talk about what structures a good presentation. I recommend some talks that they go on, or I recommend they watch a whole bunch of talks, even whatever topics they want. But I ask them what stands out. Why do they like some talks better than others? And then when we meet our first time, we talk about that, because every presenter is going to be effective in their own way. Some people might be very enthusiastic and engaging, and that's their thing. Others not so much, but they can both be very effective if they find their voice. So we help them do that by recommending or helping them watch different videos, TED Talks.
So is it really personal? Like is it meeting one-on-one, or is it always group meetings?
Oh no, the first meeting is a group meeting. And I go through the whole process of this is a good outline for a TED Talk, and these are some tips, and a lot of stuff's online about how to become a TED presenter and speak like a TED presenter and stuff, and certainly stuff from my own experience as a presenter and a trainer. And then after that meeting, all the meetings are one-on-one.
Okay.
Every meeting we meet on after that, except for the final rehearsals, are all one-on-one. And some presenters I meet for an hour, and some presenters I meet multiple hours, multiple times. And it's great. They all have their own things they're nervous about. They have all things they're excited about. They have things that they want to make sure they do. Some are crazy with the PowerPoints. They have 200 slides. And some, do I need to have slides? And we work to try and find that balance, because it's like any presentation, it's not about the stuff, it's about the presenter. It's about You are the message, as they say. So I really try and help them find that you in them and be the best they can be.
Right. Well, that makes me curious when you talk about kind of your training has a very specific structure, and then how does getting to know that individual like play off of that?
Well, there's all different trains of thought on presentations. I find presentations that open strong. They get people, I gotta listen to this person. They get excited. Good, solid content that's focused on a specific topic. In the TED Talk, it's an idea worth spreading. So that idea, not 17 different ideas, very focused, back it up with evidence, some real things that people can relate to, and then close strong. I'll ask every presenter, and they probably know to nauseam how much I ask this, what do you want the audience to think or do when you're finished? And everything we do leading up to that end is what you want them to think or do when they walk out, or when they click off on, or click the YouTube or the TED off on their computer. That's the message you want to do. So if your opening doesn't promote that, switch your opening. If your slides don't get them to change or think the way you want them to, don't talk about that. It should all be in line with the message. And it's fun because sometimes they have multiple messages. And I'm like, that's great, but you only have 7 minutes. And also, too, if you had 10 things, you're always going to be your favorite down to the 10th. Pick your favorite. Pick the most important. And it's fun. That's the best part, other than sitting there watching them do it, is there's amazing people that are TED presenters here in Hawaii. Incredible business people, entertainers, people from the military, all different groups of people that have done amazing things. And the fact that I just get to help them talk about it is really fun.
Yeah. So then do you have a pretty big influence on their whole kind of transcript, or you'll just make little suggestions? Oh,
it all depends. Some that come in that say, Joe, I'm going to say this. And I'm like, okay. And then we go through it, and pretty much they don't change a whole lot, and that's good. Some, they come in and they're like, Joe, help me. And I have all these ideas and 17 different things I want to talk about, and we really will work more closely to form that. So it depends. It depends.
And what's the range like of experience with like public speaking or presentations? Is it always like the extremes, or I know you have like Dawn Lipper speaks all the time, everywhere, all over the world.
Right.
But I remember she was one of the speakers that specifically said that she loved the training she got from this. So.
Well, I guess a lot of people confuse being comfortable in front of the room with being good in front of the room. A lot of people, I'm a presenter, I can talk in front of 100 people, and some people say, well, I can't because I'm really nervous. Once you get past the nerves, then it's sharpening your skills. So someone like Dawn, yes, she's absolutely not nervous about it. She's a skilled speaker. But as all skilled people know, we can always get a little better. Back to my point of how I would like to, if I ever did a TED salon, it would be about the development. So no matter how good we are at what we do, what's that next step? What can we do to get better? So the range, luckily I've not had any presenters that were terrified. In my training outside of TEDx, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
But luckily, I guess people sign up to be TEDx presenters. They certainly have a level of, all right, I can speak in front of people.
Yeah.
Everyone's nervous the day of, even people that have performed in front of thousands of people. It's TEDx, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to know too, since most of your work is with corporations or professionally, what's that diversity of your...
Oh, it all depends. Some companies we do work with. We work with individuals that say, hey, I want to get ahead in my company. Can it be through human relations? Could it be through presenting? We work with a lot of salespeople that say, I love selling, I'm great at selling, but I'm just not closing enough. So maybe presentation skills can be the thing that can push me over the edge. So a vast majority of people.
And then so how does that compare with the TEDx speaker? Or one thing you said is you get more terrified people professionally than the TEDx.
Well, because when you sign up to do TEDx, you're signing up to stand in front of could be millions of people, ultimately. So they think they have to have a certain level of confidence. A lot of people come to our programs that are terrified of speaking, and they just want to be able to speak up at a meeting or stand in their group of friends and speak up for how they feel. So they're not signing up for a TEDx. They're just signing up to say, hey, I want to be more comfortable. So it's fun in both ways. And it's great when you see someone that's very skilled take it to the next level. Or you see someone who's terrified that comes in front of our room and in our 8-week course in the first session and can barely say their name. To the end, they're talking about how they've made changes in their organizations or they're getting along better with their families. To see that change is quite dramatic as well.
Do you get a lot of follow-up that people will be like, you changed my life?
Yeah.
That's
Modestly, I'll
also
say yes.
okay.
I mean, yeah, we do. And that's just a byproduct. You can't expect that. You can't want that, but it's really nice when it happens. It's really nice.
Definitely. And again, it's great to choose a career that you get that you get to have that relationship with people. And again, I'm so interested in all the different volunteers and even the attendees of these events that get to experience the speakers on the different levels. You know, some people just go and they just see the full presentation, but it's such a fun thing to think of you getting to see them through the whole process.
Yes, and so many people, they come and watch these TED presentations and TEDx, they're only getting that small part. Yes, that's how it should be. It should be clear and concise and all that, but they get the benefit of hearing the story in the rawest form with their 17 different ideas and the story that they love, but they just didn't want to tell to everyone. So I get the benefit of all that. Working with Henry Capona 2 TED Talks ago, I mean, I heard him sing songs just for me in the room.
That's awesome.
And who gets that? And that was really
perk.
special. And just talk about a fantastic guy. But to have that access to him and really learn who he is. I might know him differently than a lot of people. Certainly anyone who saw the TED Talk is a great TED Talk, but I don't know. I got inside information,
Definitely
I guess.
a perk of the job.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So has the way that the speaker training has been structured, has that evolved at all since you started the first time, or it's a pretty...
Well, we always evolve. We always learn more the next time we do something. So the first 3 times, every time we've done something a little differently to help them be more efficient in their training, to hopefully get them better faster, because it takes a lot of time. And then next time I have ideas of what we're going to do differently next time. Nothing dramatic. Getting people prepared for presentations is what it is, but we also want to make sure we give them the best opportunity to be good fast. So that will be the next step, probably.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's just so fascinating to just hear all the inner workings of all the different groups. Since, before doing this show, I've kind of just been on the sustainability team, focusing and doing my own thing, and so we're trying to find different ways to see what everyone else is doing. So I've been really stoked to bring everyone on the show and get all the background.
And that's one of the things, I guess, you talk about evolving. When I first did it, I really only met the presenters, the Genesis, of course, and only the presenters, and then we met everyone the day of the event. Well, this one, we were involved way back when. Remember we met at UH that day, and you're like, how'd you get here? And we had to say how we got there. That was way back in the beginning, and that was cool, because, again, you're surrounded by like-minded people who are forward-thinking, that want to give back in a way of helping people become TEDx presenters and putting on this cool event. So that was, unlike the the Genesis added that to the TEDx this time.
And then the day of the event, we always have kind of an interactive area. And did you get to bring some of your coworkers?
Yeah, my boss, Jan Cayo, came, and our marketing assistant, Ashley, came in. They just love it, too, because they know the kind of effort and time we put into it. And Jan she grew up in Hawaii, owns the Dale Carnegie franchise for about 4 years, and her passion is just to help people. That's just that's who she's about. And when I met her about 4 years ago, and she, I say convinced, it wasn't very hard, to bring me to Hawaii, it was her passion for helping people. She was very passionate about the local, I don't want to say local, but the people that live in Hawaii, the community here in Hawaii, and giving them the best opportunity to be successful, is not to lose out on opportunities from people from the mainland, or losing good people here to go to the mainland. So, so she was there, and she loves it as much as I do.
Awesome, great. We're going to take another short break and then get a little more detail about you and how you got to Hawaii. And yeah.
Great, thanks.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Keith.
My name's Keith Bettinger.
I knew that.
And I'm the host of ThinkTech Asia.
I knew that too.
Here on ThinkTech.
Fabulous. You got a great show going, Keith.
Thank you very much. And for our viewers out there that are interested in ThinkTech Asia, it airs every Tuesday from 4 to 4:45, and it can be accessed online at ThinkTech.com.
Yeah, so what kind of guests you like?
Well, we have a number of guests from academia, from practitioners of international affairs. Sometimes we have military officials. Sometimes we have public officials on the show. And our goal, we try to talk about current issues in South Asia, Southeast Asia, East Asia, and Central Asia, all throughout the Asian realm in more depth than you would find in traditional mainstream
That's the
media.
difference, isn't it?
Exactly.
That you're reaching out beyond what ordinary news media would do.
Right.
And that's why we like you so much.
We're trying to provide a thinking person's perspective, an intelligent perspective on what's going on, and we're both sides of the story, or even when there's more than two sides, we try to cover every angle. And I think that that's one of the big benefits that we provide here at ThinkTech, is it's a really innovative source of educational programming for the people of Hawaii.
You're great, Keith. You are a great host. You got a great show going on. I watch it every week.
Thanks very much.
Why don't
Jay.
you guys watch it every week too, okay?
4:45 to 4 to 4:45 every Tuesday.
It's up 45 minutes ago.
Aloha, and welcome back to Behind the Scenes and Beyond the Talk with TEDx Honolulu. I am your host, Justine Espiritu. Please do not be afraid to join in our conversation on Twitter. We are ThinkTech High. If you have any questions for us, we would gladly answer them. Again, our guest today is Joe Cardiello from the Dale Carnegie Training of Hawaii.
Right.
Awesome. And yeah, again, this series is a great way to get to know not only more about the speakers' ideas, but all the folks that are behind the scenes and their stories as well. I think every person, every volunteer, every community organization we have on, and that is a part of our events, has a fascinating story just as much as all our TEDx presenters.
No, thank you.
So I'm curious to know a little more about how you got in this position. I think I read a quote from the website that says, you know, Dale Carnegie, they want to bring out the best in people. And you mentioned that your background or degree is in fashion.
Right.
And so I'm so curious of that evolution of starting in fashion or getting that and then being here in Hawaii, having this kind of skill that you're contributing to the community.
Yeah, it's not exactly a natural progression going from fashion to training, but I grew up in a family business, in the fashion business, and that's all I knew, that's all I wanted to do. And I loved it, and I was good at it. But when I was about 24, my mom came to me and said, you have to take the Dale Carnegie course. And I said, well, why, Mom? She said, because you know what you're doing, you've been growing up in this business, you really know it, but you don't deal with people well. Like,
Your
really?
mom said that to you?
My mom said that to me.
She waited till you were 24?
Yeah, well, I guess it didn't make a difference until I was 24. I was just in school. But so I went to the Dale Carnegie course, and what I liked about it is I guess because she was making me do it, I applied the principles, I applied the concepts, and the flagship Dale Carnegie course is all about human relations. And yes, I found that I was having more success at work, but I also found that I was having a lot more success outside of work. My social networks were growing, I was making more friends, I was having less stress, and it's just one thing after another. So when I got asked to come back to Dale Carnegie as a coach, just an assistant to help out in the next course, I took advantage of it because I said, wow, this stuff works, and maybe if I get more of it, it'll work even more.
So you were like a customer or a client,
Yeah.
and they asked you,
Yeah.
they're like, you would be great on our team.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about Dale Carnegie. We do have certain participants come back after and become coaches. And I don't know why they asked me, because I don't really know how well I did in the program, but I guess my trainer at the time saw something in me. And I became a coach, and I did that for a long time. And then this was all in New York City. And when I saw every day I was getting better at my job, I was having more success, and I was single at times, I was dating, and everything was better because I was using these principles. And I used them more when I was involved in a training program. So when they needed trainers in New York City and they asked me if I was interested, there was a whole bunch of us that were interested. And out of 35 people, 4 of us became trainers. And that was almost 15 years ago. And I did my regular job and in the fashion business as well as training part-time for 12 years. And then the fashion industry in New York changed, and our company changed, and I had been running the company now for about 9 years at that point.
This is a family company?
Yeah, and I was running it, and the industry wasn't what it was. And I had a passion, and I loved helping people, and making women's clothes was not my passion anymore. So I had an opportunity.
I can't believe that.
Well, as challenging as it may be to believe. So I loved helping people. So I was sitting at a Dale Carnegie convention in San Diego, and I said, this is what I want my life to be about. So I decided that was it and made my decision, and the business, we closed the business, sold the business, and I started working for Dale Carnegie full-time in New York City. And shortly thereafter, I met Jan, who is the owner of Dale Carnegie here in Hawaii, and we were talking, and like everyone, oh, I'll come to train in Hawaii. She said probably 100 people probably said that to her. And for some reason, I don't know why, she sent me an email about a month later and said, hey, would you think about doing that? And I did, and I came out here for 3 weeks, and I trained, and who cannot love Hawaii for all the other reasons, but I love the opportunity here to help people, because I think that, I don't know, I just think it was different than New York in the sense that there was so much opportunity, so many people that were excited about growing and excited about developing and wanting to learn, just like the community here with TEDx, this type of mindset, it was so rich here in Hawaii. So we decided to move, and I moved to Hawaii almost 3 years ago, and I've been the director of training in Hawaii here ever since. And it's just, it's funny because I've probably trained about 1,500, 2,000 people since I've been here in different trainings or courses, and I walk down the street and very rarely do I not, hey, Joe, how you doing? And who gets that? If you go to a regular job and sit in an office, you know a few people.
Yeah.
I get to know a whole bunch of people, so I think that has even made my life in Hawaii here better because of the community and the people you meet and the what we do. All we do at Dale Carnegie is try and help people, and no one can be mad at you for that, which is nice.
Yeah, I think it's really inspiring to hear. When I was growing up, I think I fantasized about, oh, I wish we had like a family business that was just handed down to me, and this idea of like knowing what your path is, knowing what job or career you're going to have. I wanted that like security to just know. But it's awesome that you had that kind of handed to you and you were successful at it, but you decided that that wasn't your passion, and you like let that go. You know, if you guys like close the business, you know, sometimes that sounds like a bummer or like hard.
Well,
but
it was 19 years I worked there, so it wasn't like it was the next day. And I often people will call me and say, hey, I'm in a family business, I know you were, how did it work and how did you do it? You can't look at it like, oh, it's just what I'm gonna do. You have to look at it and say, this is what I wanna do. And you have to take it on like a regular job. You can't get extra benefits. You can't get you can't have the unlimited vacation days. You have to look at it, you have to work twice as hard as everyone else. Yes, I was given a great opportunity, a lot better than a lot of people would have had, but it's how you deal with that opportunity. And I meet so many people that have opportunities that squander them, that don't run with them, that don't make them happen. And like I said, I was there for 19 years, and part of the reason I'm as successful as I am at Dale Carnegie is because of my business experience. Going through the tough times and dealing with employees, both good and bad, and dealing with troubles in business and successes in business. And because of all that, and because of the training together, I think that has brought me to where I am now, and better able to help people, because if I just read out of a book how to sell, or read out of a book how to deal with a challenging employee, I'd be regurgitating someone else's words, rather than saying, well, here's what I did when I had that problem. Here's what I did wrong when I had that problem. And you're able to better help people that way.
So it does sound like a really smooth transition of, obviously you're going to get into training because of your experience, or it's interesting to see the culmination of everyone's experiences and where that ends up, because if, like you said, if you didn't have that business, maybe you wouldn't be so successful at your training. So it's just all interconnected.
Right. Had I started training, or if I had decided I wanted to be a full-time trainer when I was 25, I would have been training out of a book, because I didn't have that experience. So having the nearly 20 years of business experience is better prepared me to deal with standing across. I did customer service training this morning for a company right around the corner from here. And I deal with customer service, and I had challenging employees and challenging customers in my own life, so I can relate to what they're going through.
That's great. I like what you said, how if you had that same opportunity years ago when you were so much younger, it would be different. And it makes me feel good and more okay with insecurity of, not knowing when that kind of transition or would happen for me. So
and I think that just like anything,
or just like trusting the process and trusting when an opportunity.
But keep an eye out for that opportunity, and then when the opportunity comes, embrace it and run with it. If you just wait for that opportunity to come and don't really see it, or don't embrace it, or don't go after it, just sit and wait, it's not going to happen. Like all the things that you're doing, like we talked about, being out there in the community and doing all these things, That's what makes good luck happen. And I say good luck jokingly because luck is what you make of it. You're out there allowing things to happen.
There's your TED Talk. You said you didn't have an idea to talk about.
It's been done before.
Next TEDx Honolulu, it's
been
just going to
done
be
before.
the Joe Show, and here's his TED Talk.
No, and who will coach the presenters? They need me to do that. But that's it. Just embrace it and go after the opportunity. I mean, there's so many people that say, wow, you have the best job in the world because you get to do what you love and you get to do it in Hawaii. You know what? It's not like I woke up one day and it was sitting at my desk. It was over the years when I was working in my full-time job and spending countless hours learning how to train Dale Carnegie and studying the principles and becoming a good trainer. All of my friends were out drinking beers and hanging out with their friends and doing all kinds of stuff, and I was studying and working. So, yeah, right now I have a great situation, but it was because of what I did to get here.
Right. I think people kind of envy, like someone like you said, you're like, oh, I wish I could be that good or be doing that. But it's putting in the work to build up to that.
Just like when they see TED presenters, the TEDx presenters will see the Simon Sinek's of the world and say, well, how do I get 17 million views? Work at it. What can you do to get that? It just goes back to that, here's the result I want to have. Am I doing the things to get me there? Mm-hmm. So if you say you want a promotion, are you doing the things to get a promotion? Or are you just waiting for it? Are you saying I want to make more money? Okay, then what are you doing to promote that? Are you just sitting hoping my boss is going to give you more money?
Right, just hoping or making a plan and being active and being purposeful.
Right. So, and it all ties in. It all ties into going after what we want, and that's what, again, what I love so much about the TEDx folks that I've met. The volunteers are all like-minded. They want to help, and the presenters, awesome people doing awesome things, and you can run down the list of every one of them. They're leaders in their industries, leaders in the community, leaders in their organizations, whether they have the title or not, and that's what makes them successful.
Yeah, and what we've talked about a lot on here is, like you said with the volunteers, they want to participate and they just volunteer and don't kind of know what they're doing, and they end up taking a leadership role and letting it evolve and participating. So.
Yeah, and hopefully more people will volunteer next year, because the more the merrier, and the more fun and the more ideas and the better it can be.
Right, the more ideas of new people on stage and more people taking on new initiatives and making it into something new every time.
Exactly.
So that's about all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your background and the work that you have done.
Oh, thank you so much, and glad we made it happen. So, my pleasure.
Yeah, thanks. So join us next Thursday, and aloha.